Hi YouTube, my name is JJ and this is Maximus. This is our first YouTube video, so bear with me as I tell you about my life as a single dad and my journey to becoming a father. I, again, very new to this, so bear with me. I'm probably gonna make a lot of mistakes, a little nervous, but I will try to make sense of everything I'm going to take you through. So I'm going to take you a little bit on a journey of being a single dad, my whole process to how I had my son as a single father, our life. I'll tell you about my professional life as well. I'll also tell you a lot about my little side hustles for making cash, as well as my fitness and my cooking. So one of the first things I'd like to ask you guys, if you could just click like and subscribe, it would be greatly appreciated. If you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comment section. I'm going to give an example to why we're doing this. So people always say to me, well, how did how did this start with having your son? First of all, Max is 10 months old. And how I started my journey was I went to this convention it's actually an organization called Men Having Babies. Just want to put a disclaimer out there. I'm not endorsing any organization or anything like that, but it's called Men Having Babies. And so when I had chose my surrogacy agency, I chose my surrogacy agency in 1 month. They happened to be having their convention that second month. And so I went to it. It was in Chicago. That was a couple of years ago. And I chose my surrogacy agency. They just happened to be also going to be there at that time. I will bring up some of the people who I'll share with you who I did work with. I'm not sharing everybody because it's not that I'm saying anything negative or anything like that. I'm just telling you that part because I think it's better to go out and do your own research. But anyway, I went to the Men's Having Babies conference. It took place in Chicago a couple of years ago. If I'm not mistaken, it was in October. And basically, you're going to find out a lot of resources there where they talk about like fertility clinics, all the different attorneys around the country, different surrogacy agencies, a lot of the companies that do escrows for, to hold the money for like the surrogates, the surrogacy agencies, as well as for like the fertility clinics and whatnot. But what I have found, one of the reasons I decided to do this YouTube, because so many people was like, not only, everybody's out here doing a YouTube, but however, people were like, you probably could help a lot of people. And there are all these different networks that are like on Facebook and other platforms as well too, where people are starting to network and they just ask you questions and you just end up answering them. So I just thought I could go ahead and move into this forum and just share some of the stuff to what brought me to have my son and how it went. So first I went to this convention. First I chose my surrogacy agency. It just happened to be that they were going to be speaking there as well. Chose the surrogacy agency, went to the Men's Having Babies conference. I chose my fertility clinic basically because the fertility clinic that I chose, they were speaking at the Men Having Babies conference that I attended. My process actually was amazingly, it was a bumpy ride, but there's a lot of ups and downs and a lot of roads. But I chose a fertility clinic, and I basically, I think it was like, after I went to the convention, it was like in October, I flew out to San Diego, which is San Diego Fertility Clinic. I actually think they're one of the best in the world. This is what people say. I had an exceptional experience with them. Once again, I'm not endorsing anybody, but you have to do your own due diligence. I can't speak for everyone, but I do know that like my doctor, he did an amazing job with my egg donor and with my surrogate, and everything worked out perfectly. So I went out to the fertility clinic. It was a few months after I had left the Men's Having Babies conference, probably maybe about 4 months after. I don't even think it was that long, maybe about 4 or 5 months. So I chose my first egg donor which is what you're gonna have to do if you're going this route as a single father. I chose my egg donor through the surrogacy agent the first time. Yep, that you did hear that right, the first time. So that, and I chose also to know who she was, who the egg donor was. I'll tell you how that whole thing went as well too. So, very nice lady. We initially met via Zoom, and because most of these things do take place via Zoom, and super nice lady. So she was my egg donor. She went through the process of doing her medical exam and whatnot. She passed it with 5 colors, and then she set up the egg retrieval. I think shortly thereafter, I think it was like a month or 2 after. I had already went to San Diego and did my sperm deposit. And so when she did her retrieval for the eggs, regrettably, it did not work out. I only got like maybe like 1 or 2 eggs, and they were not, you know, the most viable once the embryos were formed. I wasn't going to go down that road because I didn't feel I had strong embryos. So I had that was a very costly process. That's how it goes. So you have to roll with the process. So I redid it all over again about 5 months later after I changed doctors, but I decided to stay with the same fertility clinic just as a fresh start, nothing against the first doctor. But the second doctor and I just had we just kind of had a meeting of the minds, and it was just a different experience. So I chose to go through that, through their egg donor route. So they also can help you with egg donors. So I chose my egg donor through the fertility clinic. Again, I apologize because I'm kind of all over the place, but this is my first YouTube video, and I'm just winging it, as they say. So, and if I didn't say at the beginning, because I was supposed to say, if you guys would do us a favor and click like and subscribe and hit the notification bell, I hopefully will be uploading videos quite a bit. Hope, you know, and just take you guys on my journey of how being a single dad is. So anyway, so I chose an egg donor the second go around through the fertility clinic, and that was with the help of the doctor. It worked out perfectly, but this time when I did the egg donor process, I chose to do it anonymously. So I know who she is because of the fact that you have to, you know, get all the information about who the egg donor is, and you know, you get to see pictures of them and whatnot. But you know, you also have the options of like being anonymous and whatnot. But that was the route I chose to go this time. So lucked out, I got some incredible embryos. As you see, for an example, he turned out to be a very healthy and active kid. He was like the best embryo, but I also, like I said, I don't want to say the number of how many I have, but I have a lot. I'm not going to have a lot of kids though. This is expensive. So anyway, so got great embryos. So that was like at the end of the summer of like almost 2 years ago. I'll get the dates right in a second, but I'll give you all this information. I'm probably going to give it to you like in 3 parts because I'm a little nervous and I'm a little all over the place. But I think by the time I get to part 3, I'll probably, you know, use a whiteboard and write down how I went through everything. Okay, with that being said, so the second egg donor was perfect, had perfect embryos. I also had to go back to San Diego Fertility Clinic a second time because I had to do a second sperm deposit because the first one had been used up with the first egg donor. And because I was nervous, I don't think I had a large deposit or something like that. I forgot how that worked. But anyway, I had to end up going back. So some people don't have to go all the way to the fertility clinic, but I mean, there are processes where you can ship it and stuff like that. I didn't feel comfortable doing that, but I just, you know, it is a more expensive route because you have to pay for air and hotel and all of those stuff. And you're gonna be doing the same thing for like your egg donor if that person is not, you know, centrally located to San Diego or wherever you choose to do your egg donor, and your surrogate is going to have to go through that same route. But anyway, I ended up going back to do that. You know, my surrogate, my egg donor, she did her part. We created the embryos. They were frozen. So that was like at the end of 2 years ago, the summer part. So that December, I lucked out with the agency that I was working with at the time and found an amazing surrogate. She is and still is a wonderful person. It was a bumpy ride, but as you see, my son is healthy, he's happy and whatnot. But let me tell you how that process works. So, we did our initial Zoom interview with the Surrogacy agency. We both liked each other. We were both having the fitness and wellness, spiritually alike, overall, easy people, so to speak. The journey of having a baby via surrogate, it is people say, oh, it's an easy process, trust the process, and not. It's a lot of emotions involved and stuff like that, But I lucked out, like the universe, God sent me like the perfect surrogate. She was like a super nice person. She still is a super nice person. I love her to death. I love her family, and she will always be a huge part of our lives. So that is, my surrogate. She was chosen like in December, and then so Max was born this year. He's 10 months old. He was born in February of 2024. My surrogate went obviously 9 months, so she was implanted like in June of I guess that would be last year, right? So she was implanted June, and so he was born in February. So she did her whole process, like she had her medical stuff done like that December before, and everything worked out. She had been checked out, and then the transplant took place in that June. Then he was born in February. I flew to the hospital. He was born at night. I was on a plane the next morning, and he was in my arms probably like less than 12 hours after he was born. You can't even describe how the feeling of what happens. It's just huge. It's amazing. He's like extra special because like when I got to the hospital, people were just, the whole like nursing team, they just were like in love with him. They were telling me his APGARs are like off the charts. Like I think they said he's like a 9 or something like that, 9 or 10 or something like that. I don't remember the time because I was walking through a fog, and I was disheveled because I was becoming a dad. I'm sorry if I'm not looking in the camera too. I think that's just nerves as well. I think that's all I'm gonna say right now. So, just to sum up what I just went through, like I use men having babies as a resource. You can Google them. I forgot how the process of how I joined. I think I don't even think I joined it, but I think you can still look through their website, but it's called Men Having Babies. And then you'll see that they have a lot of information. They have a lot of information for attorneys. They also have a lot of information for surrogacy agencies as well as fertility clinics, and you can use them as a resource. Again, I'm not endorsing them, didn't get paid or anything like that, but that was how I did this. Then, like I said, I had already chosen a surrogacy agency that I had worked with, and then I chose my fertility clinic. When I first go around to the fertility clinic, I did my first sperm deposit. And then I had already chosen an egg donor through the surrogacy agency. As I said originally, we didn't create great embryos. Then I regrouped. It's very expensive again. So I regrouped and went through the whole process. Just a few months later, I chose at that time to go through an egg donor through the fertility clinic. That egg donor and we created some incredible embryos. I also had changed doctors. I think I mentioned that. Nothing against the first one. It was just all about a fresh start and just starting all over again. I'm not endorsing anybody just yet. Nobody paid me or anything like that. But San Diego Fertility Clinic, I had a really great experience with them. There are other fertility clinics out there. People go different routes how they do this, but that was the route I went. My embryos were frozen. I then got my surrogate. I found my surrogate like literally at the end of the year, like the universe lined everything up. Then she did all of her checks through the fertility clinic. She passed everything with flying colors. She had to be flown out there, of course, and whatnot, to do her exam in San Diego. And basically, you know, there's a whole process that leads up to the transplant. And she was transplanted like, I think 6 months later, like I said, in June. So he was an embryo in her womb in June of last year. And then the 9 months passed, and February of 2024, he was born. He came 10 days early. It was kind of funny. He was, you know, I was walking through a fog. There was a lot of moving parts happening in my life because I had to transition to the West Coast because I was living in South Florida. So I had to come on this side of the coast and whatnot, which is where I'm still at right now. I'll tell y'all about that as well. It's been a very, very long journey. And basically he was born. I went and got him. I wasn't, you know, I saw the whole thing via video for as much as I could, of course. It was weird when he was born because he, even though the doctors were holding it up, I could see him as clear as day. He was looking at me like, where are you at? We had an instant connection, and he was in my arms. So within like less than 12 hours, I was on the next flight that morning to go get him. And, you know, I stayed in the hospital 3 days, like with my surrogate. Like the hospital, like there's a whole process that the doctors will set up so the intended parent is accommodated as well. So it's up in the hospital for like 2 nights and a day, and flew back home thereafter. And that's it. And what I'll do is, you know, guys, if you have any questions or any information you want to ask me about my process of doing this, happy to answer. I just ask that everybody always be respectful, like I will as well too. And any of the questions that you may ask, and I think that's about it. Again, like and subscribe, please, and hit the notification bell. And I'll try to make a video every day. You know, that's my goal. And oh, by the way, Happy New Year! And let me say, I was just want to make sure if there was anything else I was supposed to tell you guys. You know, just that's it. That was like my little beginning video about being a single dad and my journey to becoming a dad. I'll tell you the journey of my life in general. I think that maybe like everybody on YouTube has something to say. Hopefully I can be informative with a lot of the things I do say. You guys have a great New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Happy New Year. Bye-bye. Oh, and by the way, my little one has passed completely out.